Right then, today we're going to talk a little bit about some squatting. We're going to go through 4 squat techniques. We're going to demonstrate them all, talk about pros, cons, why you use them all, in terms of application for strength, what you're looking for in terms of your training. So 4 squats are going to go over them. High bar back squat, low bar back squat, front squat and overhead squat. Okay, so first one then, high bar back squat. Aaron, if you start to grab the bar. Okay, high bar back squat, nice and simple. Okay, it's just high bar means where the bar sits in his back. So if you notice now, the bar is across the back of his traps. Okay, it's high on his bar. It's not on his neck, it's sat across the top of his traps. Okay, Aaron, walks that out please, mate. Okay, so with high bar back squat, you can either use wide stance, close stance. It's completely up to the individual. Okay, it doesn't matter. There's no one stance in terms of where the bar sits, so you don't have to do high bar wide or high bar low, narrow. It's completely up to yourself. Okay, so Aaron does high bar close stance squats. Just do one, mate. Good technique, arse to grass, obviously. But you can also do high bar wide squats. Just do one wide. Exactly the same movement, pretty much, except it's a little bit more upright than wide stance squats. Okay, so that is a quick introduction to high bar squatting. Okay, there's a million things to go over, but all I want to do is give you a quick introduction to different types of squatting. Okay?
Okay, we'll talk about the low bar squat now. The low bar squat is generally used by powerlifting, because generally you lift more weight with it, provided it's done correctly. So I'll talk you through how it's set up. Grams, if you want to take the bar, mate. First thing we want to do is generally a thumbs over approach. And then he wedges the bar lower down the back. Okay, so by putting it lower down the back, he can now roll his wrist straight, which locks it in a position just below his traps, but above his rib delt, somewhere between the two. So he creates a shelf. So if he steps out of it now and just take a couple steps back, you can open up your hands. You can see he doesn't necessarily, he's not holding on to it with a mega tight grip. It's wedged. Okay, so if you tighten up your grip again for me, take a bit of a wider stance. Generally, again, low bar squatters are a bit of a wider stance than narrower. But what we're looking for here is, with all squats, is bar placement over the midline of the foot. So basically, as Ramsey initiates the squat, he'll push the butt back. His angle with his torso will incline, and then he'll drive up. Okay, if he does a couple more, what we're looking for is a nice neutral bar path over the centre of the foot. You can tell Ramsey is not a low bar squatter. And there's one more. Okay, keeps his chest up, just hold it for the bottom for me there, Ramsey, keep your head up. So what we're looking for here is bar path going directly over the mid-foot, more hamstrings, more glutes, chest is kept higher, and he drives up. He didn't like that. Okay, if you wrap it for us, mate. Okay, Ramsey's going to talk about the front squat now.
Right, front squat then. Okay, so again, similar type of squat, except the bar placement is completely different. Okay, on the front squat then, the bar's going to be wrapped across the front of the chest. Okay, the reason why you use this is mainly for Olympic lifting. Okay, but there are some other applications. Okay, which I'll talk about in a second. So, Aaron, if you get yourself set up then. Okay, all he's going to do then, hand's going to be on the bar and he's about shoulder width grip. Okay, then he's going to go underneath the bar and he's going to sit it across his collarbones, and then he's going to push his elbows up. Okay, what the act of pushing the elbows up keeps the bar sat across his shoulders. So in theory, he could now extend his arms out like that, and the bar would stay in this little groove across the front of his neck. Okay? So, you just want to get yourself set up again. Okay, as I talked about then, one of the reasons you would use a front squat with someone is if they're leaning forward quite a lot during their back squat. They're not capable of staying nice and upright. Okay, the front squat can be used to teach them to stay more upright during the movement. Okay, so if you notice now when Aaron does a squat, he's far more upright than he is in other types of squats. Just do one more, mate. The reason for that is quite obvious in that if he drops his torso forward, the bar's going to come forward and he's going to miss the lift. Nice and simple. Okay, because the movement is more upright, it's also far more quad dominant. Okay, so if you're looking to develop massive quads, then this is the squat that you want to be using. Okay?
Okay, the final one we're going to talk about is the overhead squat. Generally, we use the overhead squat as a prerequisite for the snatch, like we use the front squat as a prerequisite for the clean. So I also use the overhead squat as an assessment tool to assess any muscle imbalances somebody might have. So Rams, if you want to dress the bar in a back squat with a wide grip. Now, we'll use a little push press to get the bar up. Right, same thing, okay, bar placement. Generally he's above the crown of his head. So as he squats down now, it will stay mid-foot. Okay, chest is kept high, arms remain locked, drives up. Let's do 2 more for this round. Last one. And drive, good. And drops it down, receive the bar. So the overhead squat is a very functional movement itself. It requires a lot of flexibility, a lot of mobility to do that properly. So I think that's it really, we've covered the squats.
Yep.
We'll probably recap them at some point, one by one, at a more technical point of view, but for now we just wanted a nice brief description of each one.
So that was part 1, guys. Part 2 next week, Steph's going to be talking about squatting and how it relates to injuries. So for example, what type of squat you want to do if you've got certain injuries, what you can do to work around your injuries, okay, and different strategies that you can use in terms of making sure that you rehab properly, not inflaming old injuries, and also talking about people who have got genetic predispositions like myself to not squat in a certain way. So obviously, as you saw, low bar squatting is not one for me. Thanks for watching, and see you next week.